Hello, this is Dr. Daniel Farkas, and I want to talk to you today about mental wellness and a safe and natural approach to winning. Again, I'm Dr. Daniel Farkas, DC CFMP. Now, let's talk about mental health. Such a huge issue in the United States and worldwide. I think it's always been that way, and perhaps it always will be. I'm glad to tell you today, though, that there are breakthroughs in natural health care that can provide some really long-lasting positive outcomes that can positively affect not just individuals, but those around them, their loved ones, spouses, children, co-workers, and more. Now, just understand, it is sad to say we are in a mental health crisis. For example, 1 out of 5 women are using, or will use an antidepressant, and men are right behind them. Children as well. So what to do? Well, we could use ordinary methods. You kind of get caught in this circular pattern of treating with medications, traditional therapies, or just dealing with it. But I just want to let you know today that there is an extraordinary method that's available. And it's a pretty simple concept. We just want to break down the body systems that contribute to mental health issues and put them back together using precise and natural support. So let's look at these body systems that contribute to mental health. Well, one of them is the brain, of course, it controls everything. But another part that people are learning more about is how the gut plays a huge role. Now, next, there's something called your HPA. That's your stress management system. It's got a big, long word, hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal axis, also known as your stress management system, that's also closely tied into your blood sugar. These are the systems and components of your body that greatly impact your mental health. Now, this is the physical side of mental health. This is physically, chemically, what goes on. That's what we're going to be addressing today. And these are the parts of it. So the brain, we know that it processes how to run your body for survival. Your brain does everything for you, and its job is to keep you going. And it will adapt. It will change your body systems. It will change how you behave. It will change how you look and see the world and how you respond to stress, big and little stress, just to try to keep you alive. So please don't ever get mad at the brain. It's just trying to help you stay alive. Now the gut. This whole gut-brain connection, gut behavioral health connection, gut anxiety, depression connection, it is true and it's a real thing. And there's 2 huge concepts here to understand. Number 1, the inside lining of the intestines, that is the point of entry directly into the bloodstream. That's how things, good and bad, get into our bloodstream that could calm the body, nourish it with vitamins, minerals, nutrients, or could unfortunately be the point of entry into the bloodstream for obnoxious things that promote inflammation, that bother the brain, that cause inflammation throughout the whole body, and can just very, very, very profoundly impact mental health. Now understand, this is so interesting, that the gut produces 90% of the neurotransmitters in your gut, like dopamine and serotonin. Now, neurotransmitters, if you look at that word, you see neuro, you think about brain and nerves, and transmitter, that's how they talk to each other, how the brain communicates all throughout the body. I'm going to say this one again to stress it. 90% of the chemicals that controls your emotions are made in your gut, and they're particularly made by bacteria. And it's such an interesting concept. And this is not a theory. This is the fact. 90% of the chemicals that controls your emotions are made by bacteria that live in your gut. That's why we have to pay special close attention to the gut. And a huge part of my practice is focused on gut function, gut health, and especially gut testing. Now, this HPA, hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal axis, stress management system, that's all you got to remember, the stress management system. This represents your brain and these glands you may have heard of called the adrenal glands working together. Now, the adrenal glands are these little glands that sit just above your kidneys, and they make something I'm sure you may have heard of called cortisol. Cortisol, it's the stress hormone. It gets a bad reputation, it gets a bad name, but it's actually your friend. It's a backup plan to help you deal with stress. But just like how a credit card can be a backup plan, for our monthly finances, the credit card can be abused, it can be overused, and bad things can happen. The same thing with the adrenal glands and cortisol. Balance is what we're looking for, and we'll talk more about this. Here we go. Cortisol. Just remember, it's a stress hormone. It's not your enemy. It is the backup plan to keep your blood sugar steady. And steady blood sugar has everything to do with a good, healthy mood, attention, focus, irritability, patience. All those things, they get affected when our blood sugar fluctuates wildly. Having steady, balanced blood sugar is crucial, yes, but also having an effective stress management system utilizing cortisol is crucial, and it can be tested too as well. Now, again, the extraordinary method, break down these body systems with advanced testing. So good news, there are advanced tests that you can do at home that will break all these systems down and just simply stated, just show you where you have weaknesses. Wherever you have weaknesses, then we can use precise natural support along with some lifestyle recommendations, just major do's and major don'ts. They can really, really make a difference in this. So when it comes to the gut, we do what we call advanced stool testing, and it checks for a couple of huge, I would say, markers. Number one, that leaky gut, the leaky gut indicators. When you again, as I mentioned before, when you have breakdown in the lining of the wall of the intestines, it allows obnoxious things into your bloodstream that trigger inflammation and imbalance in your body, just like holes in a boat trigger big problems in the boat. We have to know if you have that. And I would say that most people that come to me, they have it, and some it's very, very severe. The good news is it can be healed in a relatively short amount of time. Over weeks, sometimes in severe cases, even into months, you can heal up and seal those things so the obnoxious things will stop getting into the bloodstream. And then also, this is crucial, checking this bacteria balance, so important. We want to measure the healthy good guy bacteria, the ones that make those neurotransmitters, those chemicals that controls our emotions, the dopamine, the serotonin, and all the other neurotransmitters. But crucially, we also want to look for anything bad that gets in their way. Overgrown, obnoxious, bad guy bacteria, candida, blood, mucus, inflammation, all these things that disrupt the work that the beneficial good guy bacteria are trying to do. Now, just understand, we live in a world that's very hostile to a healthy gut. Pesticides, plastics, beauty and hygiene products, food colorings, dyes, water pollution, all these things. These things, there's a constant assault on the gut, and this is why we have to take special care, test it properly, and make sure that we do a comprehensive job of supporting the gut because it's crucial for mental health. Now, when it comes to cortisol testing, the stress hormone, as you can see here, it says it indicates how well your stress management system is or maybe not working. And the impact it has is this. It demonstrates blood sugar stability. It tells you how well your body is able to maintain blood sugar on its own without having to resort back to the stress hormone cortisol. It's just like being able to look at your monthly finances and budget and see where your money might fall off, where now you have to start pulling out this high interest rate credit card all the time. This system can get abused. But don't worry, it can be restored. Just like you can pay a credit card down and get back into financial balance, you can get back to stress hormone balance. But testing is crucial. The home test kits, those are just crucial. They're brilliant. Now, especially for those suffering, especially for those struggling, neurotransmitter testing is breakthrough care and support for mental health to actually measure the levels of dopamine, serotonin, and more. For some, is so important. And the testing results are brilliant. This is what has just, to me, has been breakthrough and revolutionary. Using a simple home urine test, you can see what your levels are, and the results show you exactly what you need to do in order to simply boost up the ones that are low, use a natural, very precise support, or if things are too high and they're overstimulating us, causing erratic behavior, anxiety, sleeplessness, and more, we can give precise support that will help the body do what we call metabolize or break down those neurotransmitters so things flow better. This works wonderfully. It works well in everybody, in my opinion, and it works really, really well in children. Very well. Neurotransmitter testing and precise support using precise minerals and nutrients, all natural things. It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So this is something else that's just great. This is easy. It's easy. These tests are done at home. That's the way we do it. There are a lot of different ways to do it, but we use the easy home tests that I feel are the best ones in the world. And I always say, don't guess, do a test. Nobody can guess about what these levels are, be it the gut, be it the cortisol, be it the neurotransmitters, all these things that nobody can guess about these things. Now, once we get results, to me, they are just like a map of where you want to go. Instead of wandering around hoping you get somewhere without a map or any sense of direction, test results give definitive direction of where we want to go. And we can always retest too and see and make sure what we're doing is effective. This is crucial. So here's what we typically see after we test somebody. Say we assess someone's gut, we assess their neurotransmitter levels and their cortisol. We'll almost always see leaky gut, that breakdown in the lining of the wall of the gut that's allowing obnoxious things into the bloodstream. We typically see low, good guy, beneficial bacteria. Remember, that is the factory that makes those neurotransmitters that controls our emotions. Unfortunately, we often see a lot of what we call high pro-inflammatory bacteria. These are undesirable bacteria that cause problems in the gut. We typically see irregular cortisol output that has everything to do with blood sugar problems too as well. And we see out of bounds neurotransmitter levels that definitely require support. And remember, all this is done in adults and children. We have children as young as 2 years old. So once we have all these results, what do? Well, we want natural support. So we start to heal the gut with a natural source of something we call glutamine. And if you look at the word glutamine, G-L-U, glutamine, looks like glue. You can heal those cells in a relatively short amount of time to stop that leaky gut and stop that influx of obnoxious things into the bloodstream. We have to oftentimes eradicate obnoxious bacteria that are in there disrupting the good guys, making their neurotransmitters. Got to get rid of them. That has to happen. And when it comes to support for the adrenals, we love using herbs where we can. Things like ashwagandha, rhodiola, holy basil, and now even saffron have promise, and they just help the adrenals to get back on track. They just give them the boost that they need. Along the way, steady blood sugar as part of a diet strategy is crucial. There's no substitute for that. We love coaching people on how to do that. It's not hard, but when it's done right, it's brilliant. Again, neurotransmitter metabolism support, getting things right, given the proper micronutrients like B vitamins, certain types of magnesium, vitamin C, and more, can really help those chemicals process properly that can smooth out neurotransmitter metabolism. And then ultimately there you can see we need to repopulate the healthy bacteria and get them on our side. I often refer people or suggest what I call the crucial therapy necessary. Certain types of therapists are adept at troubleshooting problems that people have that may have been there for their entire lives. I think that trauma healing is critical because just imagine this. We all have emotional wounds. Some are very big, some are small, but I think we all have them. And it's the stress of life that activates those old traumas and throws off how our body works scientifically, throws off our cortisol, throws off our neurotransmitters, and negatively affects how our gut works. We have to stop picking at those wounds over and over and over again. Trauma healing is possible using therapy approaches like EMDR. If you've heard of that, there are many approaches, and there are certain types of professionals that deal with just this type of care, and getting the right type of care is crucial. I think we all need new coping mechanisms because we were all children once, and we all need to do what I call the work. Again, just imagine we're all children. We're exposed to stress, difficulties, trauma, loss, grief, and we all didn't learn perfectly how to process those emotions. Well, those child processing, those strategies, they don't serve us very well into adulthood. And I think that everybody at some point could likely benefit from having someone who knows what they're looking for to troubleshoot our weak areas and help us to mature, if you will, our coping mechanisms so that we can interact successfully with the stresses of adult life and beyond, and teach our kids to do the same. So once all this is done, once all this is in place, once we have testing done, once we have natural support, therapy if it's necessary, what does success usually look like, and what would it look like to you? Inner peace, crucial. We want inner peace, certainly for how we feel in our comfort level, but also for our body systems too. We want our body to last us 100 years and beyond, and that requires inner peace. That's what we can expect when we see success. We want to live away, of course, from medications and their side effects. Now, some medications are crucial and they're necessary. Of course, we don't want to take those away. Staying safe and functioning is critical, but if we can live away from them and their side effects, I think everybody's on board with that. We want outer peace too for our loved ones. We don't just want to feel it inside, we want to project it outwards, and we want to be that have that ripple effect where we are the rock. We are the peaceful person. We are the person that inspires and spreads calmness and helps others to heal by spreading information, just like by what we're talking about today. And then finally, of course, we all want peace of mind just from living naturally. Living naturally, of course, is a thing that everybody wants to do. So here's a bright idea. If you're suffering, if you want to learn more, look us up, Back to Health Natural Solutions, if you have not done so already. We love helping and talking to people all over. And I believe that mental wellness and healing and balance and improvement is possible when the right comprehensive approach is in place.